Hi, I'm Liz with the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and today I'm here to show you how to make any quilt out of solids. We're going to start with the most basic half square triangle quilt, the chevron quilt. So once upon a time, Jenny made this quilt when we called it By the Sea. This was actually one of the first Jenny tutorials I myself made, and I'm very excited to show you today what happens when we go to solids. So solids can be one color all the way across, or the pack that we're going to use today can create this little ombre effect. I'm going to show you the only thing that's different between these quilts truly is that these were made 4 at a time half square triangles, and these were made 8 at a time half square triangles. So they're a little bit smaller, and you can see the quilt is a little bit smaller. But you actually get enough triangles to make 2 quilts this size out of the same layer cake that makes 1 quilt this size. So let me show you how we do it. So to make most half square triangle quilts, you're going to need a packet of your print. In this case, it is the Solids, Kona Solids Mermaid Shores palette. And so it goes from this light green through the blues to the lavender. And then a solid pack of your background fabric. In this case, we used white. And we're going to pull one from each and show you how to make the triangles. So I'm actually going to pull 2 of these lime greens from the back. And first I'm going to show you how to make the 4 at a time half square triangles that Jenny used on her By the Sea quilt to make these chevrons. So I'm going to stack these on top of each other. To make 4 at a time half square triangles, we're going to refer to our cheat sheet. So here we've got 2 at a time, which is when you are going to draw a single line and stitch on either side of it or both sides of that line. We're going to do 4 at a time. So you place the 2 squares together, and we are going to sew all around the 4 edges using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So all I have to do is line them up really nicely and take them over here to the machine. We're going to sew all the way around a 1/4 inch. And you can sew right off the edge, or you can pivot. And we'll turn this around and just keep sewing. And for this machine, you can see that I have a kind of a skinnier foot. So what I'm doing is using the 1/4 inch line on the faceplate of my machine and on this seam tape. So I'll go all the way around and I'll meet you back here in just a minute. Okay, so now that we've sewed all the way around, we're going to do that to all of the squares that we're going to use for this quilt. I like to press this before I cut it. I'm a little messier with my seams, and so that just helps everything lay down. Like so. And now it's time to cut. So I'm going to take my threads off, and I love our longer 15-inch rulers for this because they fit all the way across diagonally, corner to corner. And we're just going to line them up here. And again, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to cut a little differently than Jenny does, but the same idea, corner to corner. And then we'll turn this way. And Jenny often puts it here because she's going to cut left-handed. It took me a long time watching her to realize that I actually cut a little differently, and that's okay. You want to always cut away from yourself. And that is how we're going to get 4 identical half square triangles. And those are going to go together once we press them and trim them. They're going to go together to make our chevrons. So you can see how they'll just line up. And there's a couple of different ways to then lay this out. What Jenny's done with By the Sea is using 2 colors, but not necessarily solids. But it reads as solid with a little bit of interest because you've got all the blues in this print. And so she's got half square triangle here and then here. So we'll show you how this fits into the quilt. You've got a chevron here, and then you'll have the chevrons going up here. And they'll continue across to make a stripe. So you'll have 12 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 14 down. I won't spare you the counting, but the smaller ones are laid out very much the same way, but they're made just a little bit differently. So again, we've got this really great cheat sheet for you that's going to be in your description box below. And for half square triangles 8 at a time, we can do something very similar. We're going to take our background, and we're going to take our print, or in this case, our nice solid, which is extra friendly. And this makes this a great quilt for doing something for someone's favorite color, for someone for school, as school colors as like red and gold. You can make a whole red and gold chevron quilt. So what we're going to do is, this time, we're going to flip to the background. We're going to follow along. We need to mark 2 diagonal lines on the wrong side of 1 square. So again, I'm going to take my ruler, and this time where we just cut, we're going to mark. So I've just got a regular mechanical pencil here. And it's a very light line, but I can see it. And one other trick that I use when I'm trying to make sure that my lines are all just right is that I can use the 45 line on my ruler and line that up here with the side of my square. And if you find that pulling is dragging your fabric, you can start from the center and mark outward. And you still get nice marks that don't end up pulling or dragging or stretching your fabric. Okay, so now that we've got this, we're going to sew on both sides of both lines. So I'm going to do that at the machine, and I'll come back here and show you how we trim that. So now that I've gone and sewn on both sides of both lines, I'm going to cut this into the 8 half square triangles. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually cut through the center, and I can use this 5 by 15 ruler. You'll see that it comes right here to the center, and I've got all my straight lines lined up. And I'm not too worried about the pinked edges. I'm just inside all the pinked edges, and it goes right through the center. And then I'm going to cut vertically, and then I am going to cut horizontally. So again, all of my ruler lines are just inside my pinked edges. And now my center line can line up right where I just cut, so I know everything's going to be nice and square. And it'll just save me a little bit of the trimming later. Once I've got those two, then I'm going to go back and cut on the lines I drew. Like so, and like so. And I'm going to turn my body if I can't turn the fabric. Okay, so now I have 8 half square triangles that are all the same with these 2 fabrics. And as I lay these all out, you can actually see more of the chevron start to appear at once. And I chose to do 8 at a time half square triangles for the mermaid version of this quilt that you see behind me for 2 reasons. One, because in this pack of Mermaid Shores palette, Kona, you can see there's several colors. There's actually just enough colors for me to use one all the way across, and there's 12 colors in this pack. So I could do 1 strip of every piece across, and it creates this ombre from the light green all the way to the light purple. I loved that, but it also meant that my second quilt is going to be much scrappier because it has lots and lots of different colors in different sizes. Well, not different sizes, different quantities, because there's 4 of some squares and 3 of other squares. I don't end up with another 12 perfect ombre for the second quilt. that doesn't bother me because I know I can mix and match, because that's what we did here, and it looks great. Looks great in solids as well. So again, let's lay this out just a little bit, and you can see the chevrons appear. So we do 2 with white peaks, and we'll do 2 with the green peaks. And so they turn into kind of flying geese units, but also when you put them together, create the full chevron look. And then you can just keep laying these out until you have the color story that you're looking for. And that is how you can turn any project that is done with prints into a project with solids using just the regular half square triangle method. I know we always see things in beautiful, beautiful prints, and it's okay that they go out of print. It's okay that you have something you haven't cut into for a while because it's perfect and beautiful and you just didn't want to. But dig in and make the quilt. There's going to be more prints and more solids available for you anytime. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make half square triangles 4 at a time and 8 at a time, and how to turn solids into all of your favorite half square triangle quilts from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.